This is for those who had doubts about my talking about supernatural forces on plantations. This is black magic, and it gets into how a lot of the people on plantations had supernatural powers that nobody understood. Okay? Here's a research paper entitled Conjurers, Magic, and Power: The Influence of Afro-Atlantic Religious Practices on Slave Resistance and Rebellions. Down at the last paragraph, you will see that the artful design, let me reread that. These artful and designing men and women found on plantations throughout America were as ubiquitous as the individual and group acts of slave resistance they inspired. They served as conduits of powerful supernatural forces beyond the comprehension of their contemporaries and were therefore believed to be integral to the success of a number of slave resistance movements. The mystical powers conjurers claimed to control made them formidable and respected figures amongst enslaved Africans. As historian John Blassingame noted, in many instances, the conjurer had more control over the slave than the master had. There you have it. People who have a speaking ability and ability to influence people, who are motivational in their style and they're charismatic, they were a threat to a lot of the people who owned slaves. Every movie that I've watched that dealt with people who had these abilities, the people were afraid of them. They usually sold them off or did some kind of things to come after them. But I've never heard of any conjurer or people who had supernatural contact with the other realms, you know, ever being taken down due to the powers they had. And they showed their powers by, motivating people to take over plantations and things of that nature. Um, so I'm talking about the magical part of the slave revolts that they never tell you about. And it's like was on every plantation that was, big. There was always someone on the plantation was more powerful than the slave master. And they plotted, they planned, and they had everything going for them when a lot of these revolts occurred. But you're not going to hear that from most people because they don't want you to know about the supernatural forces that are still with us. And you can pretty much pick out the people that are like this because they've been through a lot, they survived a lot. They don't live one of those ostentatious, grandiose life. They are very, very down to earth type of people.